The HMNZS Endeavour, our Navy's only tanker, is being decommissioned after 30 years of service. The support ship returned today from her last full overseas deployment, more than 4 months around Australasia and Southeast Asia before she's either sent to the scrap heap or sold off later this year. Our reporter Zac Fleming spent last night on board and spoke to me earlier this morning as the Endeavour was coming down the coast.
The long 4-month deployment has finally come to an end for the 52 crew on board the HMNZS Endeavour. They've been to Brunei, Singapore, Cambodia, pretty much circumnavigated Australia and gone to East Timor. They're inside at the moment putting on their number ones, ready to greet their family in Devonport. But this milestone is not so much about that 52 crew, it's more about the boat herself, because the HMNZS Endeavour is 30 years old. She was commissioned in 1988 and she's come to the end of her life. In those 30 years, she's gone 1.5 million kilometres, which, for a little bit of context, is to the moon and back twice, or 38 times circumnavigating the globe. She's spent 7 years of those 30 non-stop sailing. Now, the HMNZS Endeavour is the Navy's second largest ship. She's 138 metres long, but she's not what most of the public would think is a typical Navy boat. She's not a frigate, she doesn't have any guns or anything like that. She's essentially a big floating petrol station. So what she does is they take her around the world and help fill up those big frigates so people can stay at sea for longer. Sometimes they even refuel helicopters as they're in mid-flights. Now, I talked to a lot of the crew over the last 2 days or so. One man, Boots, he was on board the HMNZS Endeavour in 1988. He's been helping keep the engine running for the better part of a decade. Another girl, Taylor, who is only 19 years old, and she's on her first deployment with the Navy. And one thing that was very consistent with all that crew is that the Endeavour is a very unique ship. She has a lot of character because the Endeavour is kind of the old guard. She is run by buttons and cogs as opposed to touch screens and an artificial intelligence system or anything like that. And because she's at the end of her life, sometimes a lot of things go wrong. They've actually had to up the crew and up the engineers to keep her running properly. She'll be properly decommissioned at the end of the year on December the 7th. She'll go into New Plymouth Port, and then after that the Navy has commissioned a new boat to be built, the HMNZS Aotearoa, and that will be running in 2020 at a cost of $500 million.
It's our reporter Zac Fleming on board the HMNZS Endeavour.